Today is March 3, 2015, and it's been about a day since Obama's last tyrannical action, so I guess he's overdue. So he's decided that it would be a good idea to release the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing, and this is everything I have been saying in a nutshell, essentially. I have been arguing that government intentionally wants to fail because when they fail, they go and ask for more funding. When government agencies succeed, they lose their funding because they say there's not enough of the problem going on that for you to fix, so therefore we don't need to give you as much money. Whereas when FEMA fails during Hurricane Katrina, their funding doubles. So what's going on here is the police in America have failed. We've seen the police protesting, so the government's solution to fixing this problem is to make more police, have more training, have more federalization, and that's what this is. They want to have it that when the police drive by your house, it is not your city police or your county police, it is United States police. And do you think United States police are going to care about you or any other average citizen? So I went through this a little bit. It's pretty disgusting. I'm going to go through the actual article itself that I found this on. Obama to expand federal control over state, local police like Common Core, Department of Justice to develop standards for state and local agencies. Now, what's going on here, I've been discussing it lately. You have Obama, they're talking about mandatory vaccinations, they're talking about banning AR-15 ammo. The president wants to unilaterally have executive orders to raise taxes. We found out there are black sites where the NDAA is being implemented. I mean, this has all been going on literally in about the last 1 or 2 weeks. And now we find out they want to federalize and have national police forces. What's going on here is President Obama is in the middle of a poker game and he's gone all in. And not only has he gone all in, but he ran over to the ATM to pull money out so he could throw more money on the table and go all in with that. This is the biggest power grab we have ever seen in our lifetimes. And I even forgot to mention net neutrality because there are so many things going on right now where they are literally trying to make this into a third world dictatorship that things like net neutrality are forgotten about. The Obama administration released a plan to expand federal control over state and local law enforcement. The plan released Monday entitled Task Force on 21st Century Policing advocates the federalization of police agencies across the country by forcing them to adhere to stricter requirements when they receive federal funding. The U.S. Department of Justice, through the Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, I cannot believe the acronym for this is actually COPS. The U.S. Department of Justice, through the Office of Community-Oriented Policing and the Office of Justice Programs, should provide technical assistance and incentive funding to jurisdictions with small police agencies that take steps towards shared services, regional training, and consolidation, one of the numerous recommendations in the plan stated. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you what this looks like in real life. The mayor of my city, West Covina, his name is Fred Sykes. He is a retired LA County Sheriff's Deputy, and this is his opinions on policing. You're going to see it right here, and I knew this right when I heard it, and I knew I'd be using this in a video eventually. I just didn't know when. So here's what the mayor of West Covina says about community-oriented policing.
Of course, just basic neighborhood watch. I've advocated not only for neighborhood watch inside the city, I also advocate in particular where I live down south, because the borderline is just, sometimes it's just a line. And you can reach right across and you're in the county and talk to your neighbor. And now what would that do if you had a neighborhood watch that was combining both, like Bowen Park and all, you'd have the police departments from both ages, from both areas. Bowen Park PD could come and assist along with West Covina PD if we had a neighborhood watch that not only incorporates West Covina but next door. Same thing for the southern end, we have Walnut Sheriff Station, and we have some of those neighbors that are right there close, but they don't talk to each other. Oh, you live in Walnut. There's that kind of thing. And then, of course, don't even talk about trying to join them with the county. My neighbors are like down there. It's like, oh, that's the county. You know, I keep trying to tell them, you've got the helicopters, you've got the sheriffs, you got all these resources that if you just reach out to your neighbor and join together and get a strong neighborhood watch, you'll have everybody here, senators, all kind of people to show up. Because I've seen it happen at neighborhood watches. So I think that's about it.
So there you go. He calls it neighborhood watch. That is what regional policing sounds like. The plan also calls for the feds to collect more law enforcement data. There is a lack of uniformity in data collection throughout law enforcement, and only patchwork methods of near real-time information sharing exist, the plan stated in a section advocating national standards for law enforcement technologies. These problems are especially critical in light of the threats from terrorism and cybercrime. So that's the excuse for everything. It's always about terrorism, cybercrime, keeping you safe. What that paragraph meant was that right now, your local police department, the state police, the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, none of those agencies are communicating with one another. In their 1984 dystopian future, they will have it where when something happens with you and your local police, they will send it right over to the FBI. But in the case of what they are trying to roll out, they want United States police. So it will not be the local police. The United States police will send the information over to the FBI because they are all federalized agencies. I'm going to be asking Eric Holder and the Justice Department and his successor to go through all these recommendations so we can start implementing them, he said Monday. I know that one area that's going to be of great interest is whether we can expand the COPS program that in the past has been very effective, continues to be effective, but is largely underfunded, to see if we can get more incentives for local communities to apply some of the best practices and lessons that are embodied in this report. So remember what I said a few months back during Ferguson when I said people are protesting police brutality, so the government's response is more police brutality? That's what this is. This is their response to the police failing across the country, but it's not the police's fault they failed. It is the standards and the training is the reason why they failed. They have been trained to be scared of everything. They have been trained to be trigger happy, and they've been trained in many cases to shoot first and ask questions later, so they were going to fail no matter what they did based off their own training. So the solution is much more of the same, but under a federal umbrella. So let's see what happens when you have less police, because these people believe, the status authoritarians, they think that if you take police out of the equation, it will be total anarchy. So here's one example. Texas town sees 61% drop in crime after kicking out cops. So things didn't get worse, things got better. Rather than degenerate into a lawless land where criminals rule the streets, a Texas town that fired its entire police department has seen a 61% decrease in crime, and what they've done is they replaced the police with a private security firm. And so here's why crime would go down. Crime is always the same no matter what the situation is. But when you have law enforcement officers driving around looking for crime, attempting to enforce that crime, that is how crime goes up, because it is their job to look for crime. That's why this whole thing that Obama is trying to do is a declaration of war against we the people, because this kind of policing will involve police driving around hunting all of us looking for crimes so they can enforce those crimes and write you up and then do whatever else they're going to do from there. But in this case here, where they have the private security firms, they are not driving around looking for offenders all throughout the day. More or less, it's more of a reactionary type of policing in most circumstances. So let's see another example in a much larger area. Amid the NYPD's work stoppage, New York City sets record 11 days in a row with no murders. You see, the police are agitators. They are going around and they are escalating situations. When you take that out of the equation, there is a lot of less crime because, number one, like I said, a lot of the petty stuff isn't being enforced anymore. And number two, people are more likely to commit crime when the cops are around because people get nervous, they get fidgety, they get jumpy, and in some cases, they might just take off running, and then the police start chasing them, whereas if the police weren't there at all, they might not have done anything to begin with. So Obama wants to have a national police force to have total control over the population. They want to censor the internet so that we cannot talk about it. They have black sites across the country. We know 4 of them in Chicago where Americans are being tortured. They want to ban AR-15 ammo. They want to forcibly vaccinate you. I mean, come on, people. I mean, a year ago, it was really bad. And look how much worse it is getting. And when are people going to wake up over this? Look, it's happening in my town right now. Our mayor wants to have regional policing. It's probably happening in your town as well. This kind of thinking is just infesting like a parasite into our country and into our society. So please get this out there. Please let people know that we are about to have United States Police. That's all for now. Grindall61 signing.